Hey, welcome back to the Game Room. I'm so stoked that you're here. This is my first annual Game Room tour. Couple of things I'd love to tell you about before we get into the Game Room tour. I've been collecting for about 5 years now, and there are well over 2,100 games in my collection to date. A lot of that is off the back of a lot of hard grinding and game hunting through garage sales, thrift stores, pawn shops, that sort of thing. I've got tons of that kind of content on my channel already, so if you like travel vloggy game hunting videos and pickup videos, check out some of my other ones after this. There's lots of cool stuff to watch there. This game room was built completely by me. It was custom built, everything right down from the custom concrete floors to the shelving units that you see holding all my games, and even the ceiling and lighting system. All of that was put together by me in 2020. So it's been a couple of years now that I've been kind of getting set up in the game room, and about 6 months now that I've been on YouTube. The game room space is 22 by 11 feet, so it's right around 250 square feet. That includes a bathroom that takes up part of the game room space. So not a lot of room that I'm working with here, and you'll see some of the ways through this video that I've managed to get creative with my game storage, because fitting over 2,000 games into 250 square foot space and keeping it organized is a challenge in and of itself. So I hope you enjoy my first ever game room tour. I'm super stoked to share it with you. Let's get into it. All right, we're gonna start this tour off by just kind of taking a spin around the game room so that you can get an idea of the layout of the space. Down here on this end is where I do, well, pretty much the bulk of my gaming happens down on this side of the room. I've got my flat screen and my old school CRT set up on this side. And as we go down to the end and spin around, you can get an idea of what the rest of the space looks like from this side of the room. It's my dog Rosie, who likes to hang out on the futon down here in the game room and snooze, as well as where I do my YouTube editing over there in the corner and do some of my filming from that corner as well. This side of the game room houses pretty much everything Nintendo, starting from the NES all the way up to the Switch. And down over on the side here, I have my little half bathroom. Alright, this is my 24-inch Sony Trinitron running Fighting Force 64, a pretty underrated little beat-em-up on the N64. It is sitting on a 4-cube IKEA shelf, which is totally custom. I've got it set up on caster wheels so that you can pull it in and out away from the wall if you want to get it a little closer, or work on the cable arrangement in the back. The entire unit is backed with H&N backer boards and got holes drilled in that so the cables can sit through neatly and you can't see through the unit, which is pretty awesome. And the whole unit is divided up with milk crates, actually. I've cut these in half and then cut the backs off of them, which they actually fit perfectly, and they help take advantage of each shelf so that you can maximize storage for your old school consoles. This is my main gaming setup where I do most of my modern gaming on a 48-inch LG flat screen running Retro Rivals, local friends and YouTubers who you should definitely check out. I'll link them in the description. Underneath the TV, I've got most of my modern consoles. You'll notice I don't have the newer gen of consoles, at least I have my Switch, but no OLED and no PS5 or Xbox Series X. I do have my PlayStation 3, PlayStation 4, Xbox 360, Xbox One, Scorpio Edition, and my Nintendo Wii, which is outputting HDMI, my Nintendo Wii U, and my Switch. Everything is on an HDMI switcher, so you can jump from one to another easily, and yeah, it's a pretty nice little setup. Alright, I have to give a little shout out to my ottomans. These things are awesome. They have a bunch of different purposes, and you know, obviously if you have extra guests over, you can push them apart and have some space for extra guests. They're great footrests, but they also double, or I guess triple, as some of the messiest storage you've ever seen for extra controllers. And yeah, I keep just about everything I can manage to squeeze into these ottomans stored inside, but have to give them a little shout out because this is some of the best controller storage money can buy. Absolutely recommend this sort of thing for your game room. Alright, the shelves on this side of the game room house a little less than half of my collection, and I've modeled the design off of the shelves from the game room of Mr. Mort from Mort's Garage. If you haven't seen his channel yet, you should absolutely check out his content. These game shelves are not super deep, and so I'm not losing a lot of real estate in the game room as the games kind of push all the way right to a little stopper that I've got so that they sit really uniformly and they just take up a perfect size of a game case. So I really love this design, and it maximizes the amount of room that I have in the game room that isn't taken up by shelving. They also don't sit right on the floor, and so I get to save a little bit of space along the ground for things like some controller mounts and some places to hang controllers that I'm using on a little more of a regular basis. They're kind of grab and go on the wall there, which is nice. These shelves house everything from the PSP and PS Vita right through to all of my Xbox and PS3 collections. I also have a little bit of Sega Genesis up near the top, and I've even got a little corner where I get to show off a few of the nostalgic items from my childhood. Just behind my futon is the gaming literature section. This IKEA 4-cube is one of the newer additions to the game room and has quickly become one of my favorite things to work on in the game room. It houses a lot of the stuff that I'm currently reading, like Gamer Girls, 25 Women Who Built the Video Game Industry, and The Gaming Mind, a really cool psychology of video games book. But I've really been digging collecting anything gaming literature like strategy guides and game manuals. I've been finding more of that kind of stuff at the thrift store lately than I have been video games, so I'm really enjoying chipping away at adding as much as I can to this new little set of shelves. This side of the game room I have lovingly dubbed the Nintendo Nook, both because it contains all of my Nintendo games, but also as a nod to fellow Canadian YouTuber SeeJayAre, who's probably been the biggest inspiration in both my love of game collecting and my obsession with yard sales. The left side shelves over here house everything from the NES, which was my childhood console, all the way to the Switch, and I also have my Wii U collection there. I am going for a full North American Wii U set, and I'm not doing too bad on the way towards that. My Game Boy and Game Boy Color games are mostly stored in these custom cassette tape cases, which I'm really proud of. I collect up old cassette tapes and then cut custom artwork out to have a nice way to display and store my Game Boy and Game Boy Color games, although there are still a scary amount of games sitting in a box that need to have custom cases made for them. The back wall of the Nintendo Nook is a custom barn board wall with a 26-inch Toshiba flat screen. It's currently running Era the Acrobat 2, and on that TV I have both my Hyperkin Super Retron HD and a Sega Genesis Mini hooked up and ready to play. You can kind of just throw any game you want, PAL or North American, into the Hyperkin unit and play anything on the Super Nintendo. Just kind of a standing arcade zone, and it works really well. This side of the game room also has a couple of things that are pretty important to me, the first of which being this miniature disc golf basket. Disc golf is definitely my other huge passion alongside playing and collecting video games, and so I've got a couple different items in the game room that are sort of reflective of my love for disc golf, but also video games all at the same time. And this Nintendo 64 rental case that originally came from Blockbuster, I'm pretty stoked to have found this one at a thrift store a few years back. And it's pretty cool because the console also has the matching barcode, so this is the original N64 that came along with this rental case back in the day. My prized N64 collection lives over here on this side of the Nintendo Nook. Even though some of my boxes and manuals live over on the left side, I am going for a complete North American set, and I'm well on my way to completing it. It was definitely the first console that I bought with my own money, and so the N64 just sort of holds a special place in my heart, although I totally get people who don't love the controller and definitely don't feel like the games aged all that well. Just below my N64 stuff, I have some more custom cases. These are Nintendo DS cases that I have repurposed as Game Boy Advance cases. I definitely love taking the time to print out extra artwork and create custom cases for those. And then I've also got my DS and 3DS collections under that. Quick shout out to my handhelds, which have been relegated to this box for the time being, as I just don't have the free shelf space to display them properly. Definitely look for that in next year's game room tour. I should have some dedicated shelving space to store these properly. And why not end it off with a quick peek into the bathroom. Right now, the only things that are in there are a little bit of custom artwork, which you may or may not recognize. Throw it in the comments below. And yeah, every bathroom needs a first aid kit, because obviously you're going in there to loot that. So yeah, it'll have to remain a secret until next year what's stored inside there. Hey, thanks so much for sticking around to the end and checking out my first ever 2022 game room tour. I hope you liked the space. I'd love it if you'd comment down below and let me know what things I could change for next year, or things that you liked about this time around. If you want to check out some of my other videos, I'd love that. I've got some really cool stuff there for you to check out. A like, a subscribe, a comment, all that stuff goes a long way into helping my channel grow. Thanks so much for stopping by, and I'll catch you in the next one.